Looking down from the Penobscot Narrows Bridge Observatory, you can see the vista of Maine's coastline, historic Fort Knox, the town of Bucksport, and the Penobscot River. On a clear day, the view is stunning. Today might not be one of those days. Hello everybody, I'm Lee Goldberg, Keith Carson with me now. As we are outside Fort Knox, we have hit the road and we are in Prospect talking about all that this beautiful area has to offer. Beautiful to take the family on a nice day. And I know it's going to be sunny eventually. Today's not one of those days.
We're getting there. I can picture in my head how pretty this would be on an average day. Even just an average day. We're not there today. Let's have a look at the radar and show you what's going on. It is our luck that we are under the heaviest band of rain in most of Maine right now. It's now shifting to our south and east, though. We'll start to clear out eventually. A couple of thunderstorms have popped off to the north and the west, up into the mountains. Interested to see if these will actually make it towards the coastline as the night goes on. Most likely they'll run into stable marine air and sputter out. You can tell the haves and have-nots as far as today goes, as far as temperatures. 71 in Portland right now. Meanwhile, in Bangor, 56 and 54 in Bar Harbor. So they saw some sunshine over central and southern Maine, not the case over northern and down east Maine. For once, Caribou doesn't have the nicest weather in the state. It seems like they've been that way for about a month or so. Starting to clear things out by later on tonight. Saturday looks like a good day, mostly sunny in most locations. Temperatures will pop into the 70s, maybe a few clouds over western and southern Maine during the afternoon hours, but I think it is a good-looking day overall. And the real story begins, Lee, as we head into Sunday. I think a lot of us will be in the mid and upper 80s with a lot of sunshine. So our pattern is flipping out of this into nice.
Well, that sounds nice.
Yeah, I know you've been around my tail for a while about this, so we're finally gonna get some nice sunshine.
I appreciate it. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. In 2006, the Penobscot Narrows Bridge took the place of the old Waldo Hancock Bridge because of, actually, my computer just died, but that's okay, because it was necessary and they built it. So we're just going to give you a little history of how all of this came to be and the beauty that is Fort Knox.
It certainly was an engineering marvel during its inception and its construction, and it replaced the Waldo Hancock Bridge, which was also an engineering marvel back then. It has about 2,500 miles of wire that are woven into strands that carry the weight of the deck through the towers in an integrated structure. It was Maine's first cable stay bridge. It has some nuances in its engineering. Each one of the cable strands are independent, and so they obviously share the weight of the load, both the live load and the dead load of the structure. But because they're independent, that allows for future maintenance. It will allow us to change them out as needed. It's an attraction. It's a feature, right? So. At 420 feet tall, when we go to the top, will actually be, it's the tallest occupied structure in the state of Maine. It has the state's tallest as well as fastest elevator. As I said, it's one of only 4 in the world and the only one in the Western Hemisphere. It's the tallest public observatory in the world. It's got phenomenal views of the ocean, 360-degree views. It's breathtaking when you get up there. You get to see Maine's coast, you get to see what the ocean has to offer, you get to see Bucksport and some of its coastal towns. So it's not just a vital link in transportation to get from one side of the river to the other, but it is an attraction that brings people here throughout the nation.
I can believe it. This is amazing, like crazy.
Just standing here waiting and looking around, you see lots of license plates from lots of other states, and Maine in itself is beautiful, but when you get up there and can see what we really have to offer, you know, it has been said, sure we have Mount Katahdin and sure we have Cadillac Mountain, but really the view from the top of this observatory is phenomenal. Imagine being someone that was associated with this construction, or imagine being someone back in 1930 when the Waldo Hancock Bridge was being constructed, being able to tell your children and your grandchildren as they drive across something that's going to last decades and decades and decades that you had a part in it.
All right, last year, close to 61,000 people visited the observatory, which Community and Economic Development Director Richard Rotella tells us helps usher more visitors into Bucksport. Now that's a big help since Verso Paper closed its mill back in 2014. Parts of the old mill have been torn down and the town is working on environmental studies, part of the process to move forward with that space. Roughly 500 jobs were lost when the mill closed. Rotella says when he first started in 2015, there were roughly 9 or 10 commercial use vacancies on Main Street, and now they're down to 1.
the Bucksport heart and soul, who's out there interviewing the citizens of what matters most to them about Bucksport. Why do they live here? Main Street Bucksport, working on the vitalization of downtown Bucksport. They've held the Bridge the Gap race, which is typically held at Fort Knox and goes across the Penobscot Narrows Bridge and would go around Verona. Well, this year it came through Bucksport down our beautiful waterfront walkway and actually ended right here in this spot.
And Rotella says they've been working really hard to overcome such a big loss of the mill closing, and so far that work is definitely paying off. Okay, so when we put in our GPS today to try to find Fort Knox, it was taking us to Kentucky. We fixed that, obviously, because we're not in Kentucky. We're here in Maine. But not to be confused, this is the original Fort Knox. It was built in the 1800s, and today it stands as one of the most well-preserved forts in American history. Virtually the entire fort is open to the public, and thousands over the years have journeyed here to take in this piece of history. Now, the site is so well taken care of, partly because of the dedication of people like Leon Seymour, who's with me now, from the Friends of Fort Knox. And thank you very much for taking the time to join us. Appreciate
thanks for
it.
coming
I'm going to have
here.
you hold that up a little bit more because you've got important things to say. Tell me just a little bit about this place. I mean, first of all, it's gorgeous. I mean, it really is. It's breathtaking when you come here.
Well, it was started in 1844 as a result of the British coming up and down the Penobscot River during the American Revolution and the War of 1812. And they would like to loose cannon fire on towns like Bucksport. So the people got concerned, and then in 1844 construction started, and then with fits and spurts of federal appropriations leading up to the Civil War, that's when real serious construction took place, and it was manned during the Civil War for defensive purposes.
Now, as I understand it, there never was an actual cannonball even ever fired out of this place.
No.
But there are cannons set up to be everywhere. I went through the fort earlier.
Right.
There's holes and there's places for this. We were ready. If something happened,
Right.
this place was ready.
Imagine this is the nuclear silo of the 19th century. People would have been very foolish to have tried to get up past the fort on the way to Bangor, which at the time in the mid-19th century was the lumber capital of the world.
So this place is maintained, we were talking, by private money. This is not state funded. I mean, this is, why is it so important to this community to keep this place going?
Well, the Friends of Fort Knox signed a lease with the Bureau of Parks and Lands probably 5-6 years ago now. And so we are able to operate the fort self-sufficiently without a single taxpayer dollar coming in. Plus, the Friends of Fort Knox, formed 25 years ago, have raised millions of dollars for various projects to keep the fort in very good condition. It's probably one of the best preserved seacoast forts in America today.
And what has the observatory done, just as far as bringing people in here? That's got to be obviously a major attraction.
It's probably doubled, the attendance here, but even before the observatory, we were bringing in 55,000 people a year. So it is the most attended historic or visited historic site in the state of Maine.
All right, Leon, thank you very much for your time
Thank
and
you.
for your efforts to keep this place going. All right, still to come on now. It is Friday, and it's Fry Day. That means Katie Ortiz went to find the best French fries in the Bucksport area when we come back. And have you ever heard the tale of the witch's foot? Learn how the founder of Bucksport may have been cursed. Now hits the road when we come back. So this is Katie's favorite. And it's Katie's favorite day of the week because it's Friday.
French Friday to you, sir. We're dropping phones over here. So I've been trying to find the best fries in the state of Maine, and a lot of you at home.
Got that assignment?
I asked for it. Ask and you shall receive. And a lot of you guys at home have been sending me the best fries in Maine, which I totally appreciate, and I'm going to hit all those spots. But we heard in the Bucksport area that the Harbor View Grill is where it's at for French fries. It's just over yonder, over there across the Penobscot River. And they're in their 7th season. And come to find out, they actually use the McCain French fries. Now, McCain buys their potatoes from the Fluelling Farm, which is where we were last week for French Friday in Easton, if you can remember that. The Harborview Grill also puts their own spin on poutine.
The cheese sauce, we use a mixture of a shredded cheese and a Velveeta and a few other spices in there, so.
I love that this is still relatively new and you guys are already making a splash with your French fries.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a great thing to
We get better every year.
And I have a shirt to commemorate the day here. It is French Friday. And I also have the fries. They're probably a little cold, but it's not anything. Yes, and wet, but you know what? I'm just going to go for it because it's just what you do.
They are cold and wet.
No salt either, but that's okay. That was my bad.
They're still good.
Toaster oven. I'm a pro at this. That's all you really need. 325 for about 10 minutes. Good as gold.
There it is, our fry expert. You got to be good at something, right?
Absolutely.
Well all right,
Thanks.
still to come on now. We're going to give you an inside look at a pretty cool work of art using the fort as a backdrop. And the rain is coming down, but the weekend is looking bright. Keith is next with the forecast. All right, welcome back, everybody. Chris Costa was on top of the observatory, but the observatory does not love technology, and we could not get that live shot to work, so we made him come all the way back. I just want to know, what was it like up there?
It's really incredible. You really can see just everything for just so many miles, and Amanda's package really, I think, probably did it the best justice. You could see a lot better than you could see up there today. But you know, when on a really good day, you could see Cadillac Mountain. Obviously, you could see Bucksport right over there. So it's just cool to be up there 420 feet high and just look out and be like, wow. So yeah, this bridge is just one of the thousands of bridges in Maine. And there was a report by the American Society of Civil Engineers in 2016. It gave Maine's bridges a grade of C-. We wanted to know a little bit more about what that grade actually means. So we went to the Department of Transportation to learn more. Think about the purpose a bridge serves. It connects communities. That's why keeping them open and safe is critical.
The safe thing is always to close the bridge, but it might not be the right thing to do for the public. So the hard decision is to keep open a bridge.
The Maine Department of Transportation owns and maintains more than 2,700 bridges in the state. About 10% of those are considered to be in poor condition. Chief Engineer Joyce Taylor says bridges are a top priority for the department.
When it comes to something that is wrong with that bridge, that it could impact safety, that's when the engineering rules. It has to.
Normally, the department inspects bridges once every 2 years, but they increase it to once a year if they notice steel corroding. The DOT now spends 20% of its bridge funding on preservation efforts.
Every time we can add years of life to a bridge, it means we're pushing out the need to replace that bridge further.
Yeah, you're all set.
That's why they're replacing the Sarah Mildred Long Bridge, which connects Kittery and Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Taylor's husband, Ron, is one of the project supervisors. So what does it feel like to be out on this bridge every single day and finally start to see it come to completion?
Well, we've been here 968 days to date, so it's nice to see this coming to a conclusion, and hopefully we'll get it open this October.
Running parallel is the Piscataqua River Bridge along I-95. Taylor says it carries 75% of the freight in and out of Maine.
That's a really critical bridge for us.
It's considered one of the state's 36 forever bridges, ones that are too expensive or too inconvenient to close down, post, or replace, so they're constantly maintaining it. It's part of the department's plan to spend more on these structures to hopefully reduce the taxpayer burden in the future.
Maybe it's more expensive today, but if we can get the extra 25 years, you know, that's the goal, it's well worth it.
The Department of Transportation plans to spend about $121 million a year on bridges through 2019. Taylor says that if they did not increase the amount they were spending on bridges and they kept it at that $70 million a year, they would have to limit traffic on 40% of Maine's bridges in the next 25 years. So you can see the economic impact, especially with all the freight that goes in, why they need to spend that money.
Yeah, and this fort is one of Maine's oldest landmarks, and while some people might see just a fort, there's one group who sees it very differently. Zach Blanchard joins us now with a crew who's working on one of its latest art projects using this fort as their canvas. Hey, Zach.
Hey Lee, that's right. Check this out. We're inside the fort right now, and as you can see, the architecture here is really incredible. Just a lot of attention to detail, and that is exactly what these artists from UMaine saw. They saw this as a perfect canvas for their project. So I got to take a behind-the-scenes look into their project, Flow Fort Knox. This is where the magic happens, at the University of Maine's Innovative Media Research and Commercialization Center.
I like to kind of take things from the microscopic world and blow them up really large.
There, Jean Felice is putting the finishing touches on the project's focal point, a massive projection display that will transform the fort's exterior. But he's not the only one hard at work. Susan Smith making prints. She plans to have an interactive experience.
It kind of is a democratization of art, but basically, because you just really don't know what you're going to get.
And from the traditional visual art to, well, the strange music. Jim Winters taking advantage of the fort's unique interior.
There's a lot of echo there, so I'm in a stone chamber. And what I'd like to do this time is what I'm thinking of as an incomplete musical piece.
For them, it's all about pushing the envelope.
Oh, honey, I push the envelope all the time in my work. Look at my studio.
Eleanor Kipping is also using projectors to make the inside of the fort come to life.
Macro lenses to play with liquid and project liquid.
All of it culminating in an experience that takes one of Maine's oldest landmarks and transforms it into a flowing work of art.
Bring in such a large structure that has so much social and historical meaning to a particular community, I think increases the importance and the beauty of the work.
Now, of course, a lot of artists, they're hard at work at the University of Maine, and Jean Felice joins me now. He's the mastermind behind all of this, especially that focal point art feature we were talking about. Now, this isn't the first time you've done this sort of thing, right?
No, it's not. We did it last year at the Bangor Standpipe, too.
Right. So what drew you to Fort Knox itself?
You know, I just came here on a visit with my family and was immediately struck by the incredible architecture, the history, the spot overlooking the Penobscot River, and couldn't think of a better place for artists to explore creativity in such a unique spot.
Right. And you mentioned the Penobscot River. Now, the theme of this event is centered on water, but so how do you blend kind of this technology, the projectors, with nature?
Well, as you can see with today's weather, it can be a challenge sometimes, but it's also a pleasure. Anytime you can access all the unique history and metaphors of a space like this and the beautiful ecology of this river, it just comes together and it really inspires the artist to explore the past, present, and the future.
Right, and so just so our viewers know, it will be a large portion of the exterior of the fort that will be covered with these images?
Yeah, I'm going to be projection mapping the entire outside facade that can be seen from Bucksport and the river, and then artists will be exploring all of the various spaces inside the fort, so it should be quite a show.
Right, and what do you hope people take away from it?
You know, I hope people just explore creativity in a unique way, art where you don't expect it, but also think about the fort in a way maybe they've never seen it before through the lens of an artist.
Right. Truly shining a new light on one of Maine's historic landmarks. Lee?
All right, Zach, thank you very much. And I have to chuckle because there's a small hole in the tent that's above us, but it's only dripping on Keith's side and not mine, and I'm okay with that.
It's right on my
This
jeggings
is all your
here.
fault. You should get wet because of it.
This is a nightmare. Good thing these are spandex. That's going to really help.
And it's medium.
All right, let's talk about the fact that it's about to stop raining here probably in about 20 minutes.
So as soon as we're done.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Let me show you this radar picture. It's pretty funny, actually. Well, it's funny if you're not here. Look at where Bucksport is located. Look where the back edge of that rain is. Not far away. Again, about 20 minutes or so, we should start to clear out. A couple of thunderstorms coming out of, say, Jackman area, coming out of the mountains here. See if they make it to the coastline. They're a little bit fierce looking. I anticipate most of them will die out, though, by the time they get to the coast, running into that stable marine air that has been in place. The haves and have-nots today, very clear. Sanford, 75 degrees for a high. Meanwhile, Bangor, how about 56 degrees there? That's because we didn't see any sunshine here, and we did obviously see some over southern Maine. We all clear out tonight. Tomorrow's a good-looking day. The mesoscale, small-scale computer model trying to pop up a few showers over western Maine tomorrow afternoon. I don't really buy what it's selling. I think we might see a couple of cumulus clouds, but most of us end up with a good-looking day on Saturday and a really nice day on Sunday. If you have to pick a day to go to the beach, it's Sunday. It's the hottest day, and it's probably the sunniest day as well. So I'm thinking mid and upper 80s on Sunday, 82 or so on Monday. Front kind of backs into us starting Monday and Tuesday, so there will be quite a range on temperatures depending on where you're located in Maine, particularly on Monday and Tuesday. So I've taken the average and called it 82 and 84. But to give you an idea, northern Maine may be in the 70s on a day like Monday, while southern Maine may be approaching 90 degrees. So there will be quite a swing there. It's something that you see quite a bit in Maine, particularly in the late spring and early summer. Overall, a pretty good looking pattern here. After a good-looking weekend, a few showers again with that front on Monday and Tuesday. Most of us stay dry. We get a backdoor cold front on Wednesday. That drops us back into the 60s. We stay in the 60s to low 70s on Thursday. Perhaps some showers back in the forecast on Friday. So a couple of days in a row, Lee, where you're going to at least have to think about air conditioning, depending on where you live, and then back to more seasonable temperatures.
Well, we've been talking about it all week, and so many graduations planned for this weekend.
Yep.
I mean, if it had to pick one day to rain, other than our show, I guess Friday was the day. So.
Yeah, and like I said, if you're thinking about the beach or something, I think Sunday's your day.
Old Port Festival on Sunday.
Yeah.
Lots going on this weekend. So. All right, sir, thank you very much. So we are surrounded here, obviously, by some historical sites, and with history, inevitably comes some rumor, a little bit of myth. There's a legend surrounding the nearby town of Bucksport, which is right over there, and its founder. The story kind of goes like this. Colonel Jonathan Buck condemned a woman to burn for sorcery, and as the flames rose, she cried, quote, "So long shall my curse be upon thee and my sign upon thy tombstone," end quote. Her leg then fell off and rolled out of the fire. Hundreds of years later, anyone who visits the monument to Colonel Buck will find the ghostly image of a woman's leg on the granite. Colonel Buck's living descendant, Ed Buck, knows the story well. All right, so the fort remains open. It opened up May 1st. It opens all the way through Halloween. And as I understand it, they have Fright Fest here. And as you could imagine, with all these caves and dark hidden spaces, probably a pretty scary place to be around Halloween.
I think it'd be a blast.
I've heard it's one of the best places to go for Fright Fest.
Not to mention there are legs and colonels, and so that's
the curse. Yeah,
that's
you never
something.
know if a leg's gonna roll out.
Yeah, it could.
So
it
there's
could
that.
eventually happen. I think this is a great site. I mean, obviously we didn't have the best weather, but otherwise, I'll come back.
All right, we're on the road again next week. You'll have to watch us, and we'll give you some teases and let you know where we're going to be. But that's it for now. News Center at 5:30 starts right now.